afternoon. Little later start to the day. Today, just been chilling. We're just waiting on an Uber.
It's Monday, the 2nd
Yeah,
of
I know that.
August.
Thanks. Thanks, watch. We found out we could actually get Ubers up here. We've just got to
get lucky, I guess.
yeah. It's if an Uber's up here, which is quite annoying. But the guy quoted us 80,000 pesos, which is like, what did we say? $30. $30. But with Uber, we're paying less than a quarter of the price. So he should just be coming up, because we couldn't really be bothered walking down the hill. So we've got him to open the gate and come up. But we're doing pool day today, museum tomorrow, and pick up some groceries and stuff as well from the shops. We made it back to the hostel eventually. A little bit of a detour, but
Fucking huge detour.
well, yeah, huge. So there should be some pretty good clips actually. I filmed a fair bit, I think. And
Saturday.
oh, and Saturday. So our Uber driver has invited us to his birthday party on Saturday at his house, which should be good fun.
I'm keen.
I'm game. So we were trying to speak, or Dylan was trying to speak to him. He didn't speak too much English, but you seem to have gotten somewhere with it a little bit. So hopefully it should be a good party on Saturday. We just got in the pool and it is a lot colder than the other day, quite noticeably, but we're waiting on the sun coming back out. Yeah. And hopefully that makes a difference. Good morning, guys. At the hostel, we're just going to grab some breakfast and then Pablo Museum and then shopping. Yeah. So I didn't film too much yesterday, so I think I'm just going to merge the two together, and then we still get some of the footage from yesterday as well. But it's already much warmer down here than it is up at the house, probably because of the altitude.
But fucking jeans.
Yeah. A little bit of food: scrambled eggs, bacon, pancakes, a bit of banana with maple syrup, and some fresh fruit, and a nice coffee. Have this, and then start our day. We've just arrived at the museum. We've decided we're going to do the full tour, which is like 3 hours. It takes you around. I'm pretty sure he mentioned like the prison he was in.
So we're gonna see some of his cars and airplanes and stuff like that first, and then we're gonna see eventually his Hi, on.
We're going to see the museum
We have a few minutes now.
with the plane. We're going to see bulletproof cars. We're going to see cars that have been shot. And then we've got a 2-hour city tour, which will be pretty interesting, I think.
Auto is named after him, of course.
Yes. This is the way to get to the Virgin of the Mystic Rose. That is a devotion for Virgin Mary, because Colombia is a very Catholic, devoted population. And
So we've just stopped at a shrine of Escobar with all the like plaques, I think, around. You can see all where all the walls burnt from people lighting candles up the side as well. The guy was telling us in the bus. So he was saying that on the left side of the wall there's a timeline from 82 to 90.
84 to 93.
Yeah, of all the car bombs or bombs.
Attributed to Pablo.
Yeah.
Whether or not they were actually him, he kind of made it sound a little suspicious if they were all him or not.
And then on the right hand side of the wall down here, which we'll walk down in a sec, there's little tiny holes in the wall to tribute everyone that's lost their life or been shot. I think he said it was about 22,500 people but at the same
That's from
time,
car bombs.
was that just
That's
the one?
specifically from car bombs.
Okay. But he was saying there's two sides to a war, and he was saying as well, Los Pepos and Cali cartel don't have any of these, meaning that Pablo was the only person that wanted to kill people. So you can sort of see what was the tour guide saying, how this is it the actual statue that's supposed to be.
So this thing originally was supposed to be white and was supposed to represent a line of cocaine, but the government sees it as like a dark period of their history, so they made it black in remembrance, I guess.
And then it says there Bomba, and then where they're from, and it literally goes like, that's 84.
I mean, we're at 88 right now, and it starts in 84. Oh, okay, there's only 3 in the
Yeah.
years, I guess. Damn, the last few years were brutal.
So the guy was saying as well that what was it he was saying about the police? About the car?
He was saying that police were offered a bounty for finding car bombs. So some police would go around and make their own car bombs and then collect a 500,000 peso bounty
Reward.
on finding it.
So that was a column from the original structure of the building. Rest.
We are what we leave to the rest. You can see.
That was like a reflection.
Don't know how well you can see. That's all the bullet holes.
Been said by a judge of the Supreme Court who died on the attempt to the Supreme Court in 86.
What, was he assassinated or?
Yeah. When he was 57 years.
So the guy was saying as well that Pablo built this in front of the Medellin country club because they basically wouldn't let him in to the country club.
Because they don't like people being born poor and joining their special country club. So in response, he built a palace 7 stories tall, encased in marble,
With a 30.
right in front of them. Like, all right, how about that?
Yeah, and 30 car garage underneath. And what he was saying about the car bomb was that big that it went right up to where his daughter was sleeping. And that's basically what started.
She survived, but she was made deaf from the explosion.
And that's what started the fight between.
And that's one way to start a war for sure.
Yeah. So Pablo went round and put bombs in all of the other drug
So
stores.
in all his stash houses or all of his money laundering fronts from the Cali cartel, he sent a bomb to virtually every single one of them.
Those like original walls there are on both sides, and just behind that wall as well. And they're the original walls from when Pablo had his mansion.
On ruins. This, the second one, as the same. And last one is this one. I want to show to the population and the people in general is that that's the way you will end up if you dare to go into the drug traffic. Ruined.
So now we're just walking. We've got to walk half a block because of traffic jam.
Yeah.
But we're walking to one of the houses where the boss got kidnapped and
Who was it,
tortured.
Pablo's nephew?
Yeah.
Who was captured?
Pablo's nephew. Which is who owns the house that the museum is at.
Yeah,
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the main with the fence is half a block down this way, straight.
What is that? What's down here?
The second entrance.
Second. That was the house where Pablo originally gave as a gift to paramilitary from Colombia.
Okay.
And when they turn against him, as fighting him to kick him out of the business, then they kidnapped my boss, Nicolas Escobar, the son of Roberto, and hide him here for 7 hours with 2 bodyguards in charge of security. They kill him with a chainsaw, cut them into pieces, small pieces. But to Nicolas, they pass electricity to torture him.
So that's the second entrance there.
Even the blue ad is from the novel saying that real estate is managed by the foundation for the victims of the reconciliation to the peace in Colombia. But there's nothing working on there. Nothing. Hijacked my nephew Nicholas, and that you keep him. And I will give you 4 hours to set him free. And if you don't, then I will go to any help of the politicians and police officers to blow them all up to the ground. And I will blow until the beach nest. And I will kill your mom, your father, and your grandma. And if your grandma is dead, I will bury her out from her grave and kill her again. And I will kill your dog. And if your dog is dead, I will buy one for you and kill it when you'll get to love him. And hang up the phone. Half an hour later, my boss was free.
I bet.
So
Yeah.
at the start of that was Pablo basically phoned the president.
Yes,
Yeah.
president.
And
called?
that's
He
where
called
the
president.
yeah,
Cesar
that's where the story,
Gaviria.
and that's where the story led on to there.
On illegal, he started into smuggling, and the harbors were the place for these whiskey bottles and cigarettes imported that Pablo got for smuggling, and that was took over by paramilitary. That's why, for respect and for recognition, Pablo gave this house as a gift.
I can sort of just see it, like the outline of it goes in the trees there. So you're not allowed, apparently they leave them there as like to try and show what happens if you get into like the smuggling trade and stuff. You get the houses, all these houses along here, they are connected by the tunnel which links to the last bit that we were just at. You can see like the balcony there and stuff. Apparently there's another house on the opposite side of that that's bigger. It's got like a fountain and stuff like that. But that's one of the entrances which is covered by a tree because you're not allowed in, and then there's a main gate there as well.
That he built it as, you know, to accomplish Americans and the Colombian government of going into a prison as came out as free.
Right.
And he was convinced by that after a priest said that he needed to do that as a peace treat to the Americans and Colombian government.
Okay.
And the father was Rafael Garcia Herrera. The president was George Bush, and in Colombia was Cesar Gaviria.
Let's see.
But he put 5 conditions to do that. First, that he will choose the place. Second, he will build his prison in the place he chose.
Right.
Third, that he will choose the co-prisoners to be as free as he was. Fourth, he will choose the guards and the National Guard to guard him there. And last, the sentence to be locked. And Americans agreed. And that's why he built the prison in the peak of the mountain that he controlled, because he knew every way out.
Right.
And he escaped from there walking with his brother. The day that the president decided to extradite over drug trafficking from here to America.
Yes.
Why? Because Americans felt joked and fooled by Pablo.
Yes.
Because he uses prison more like a resort.
The prison. Yeah, yeah.
He football match up there. Maradona, if he kept the secret, it was okay, but he came out to media and admitted that he went to play to Pablo. That Pablo paid a huge amount of money.
Right.
And the prison was a luxury that Maradona compared it to a luxury hotel from Dubai. Maradona. And that was the time where the American felt, ooh. And they said, what are we doing? We're clowns here.
Right.
And they started to change their mind and they started extraditing again. And that's why the rich Pablo ran away from there. And he surrendered and went to the prison at Itaú.
Right.
As 30-year sentence inside. But Pablo died a year later. 15 days after, he got from the police a letter with a bomb inside, which exploded near the right side of his face and left him blinded. And that was actually the cause that he could get a reducement of the sentence now to 50 years. And came out 15 years after as free as he is today and live.
Pablo's brother.
Yeah, the accountant. But especially next to mom, it's Alvaro Agudelo XI. He was driver of mom for whole life. And last man standing, they trusted. Back then, when the rest or abandoned him, or betrayed him, or went inside of a prison or dead. And that's why mom asked him to be in charge for security. And he was doing that. But he actually was betraying Pablo too.
Who?
The lemon, the driver.
Oh, yeah.
And he was, dealing.
He was killed, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Limo driver?
minutes before.
Yeah.
And seconds before.
Right.
And he was dealing to government, Pablo's location and address. Why? Money.
Of course.
$10 million.
I wonder if it was worth it, considering he died before Pablo.
He said, of course, I plan, if I die, my family will be, covered
okay.
and secure for my whole life.
Yeah.
With $10 million. But the police, when they got to the house, they said, come right away because Pablo's on second floor. If he would be on first, actually he could run away from a tunnel who was in the stash house. And that was, he heard the shots when the lemon opened the door. What he got was the bullets to kill him right there. And those were the ones he heard there up on the second. And the reason that he came out through the window, jumping over to the roof of the next house.
Right.
And when he stood up there, looked down to the street, and he knew that he was surrounded by snipers and police officers from the block of defense.
Right.
He met the eyes to three of them and raised a hand in a V for victory. Got the weapon he always got on him, put it right on the ear, and pulled the trigger to suicide. Because he always said that he'd rather here on his country a grave to be free than being alive but locked inside of a prison for a whole life in America. And
You would know.
from there's a strong coca leaf who makes like a strong effect. And that's why he traveled. Initially by car, then airplane to Ecuador to get the coca leaf. Even Colombia produce coca. Grave of Griselda Blanco. Remember, Pablo decided to go into drug traffic on the middle 70s, and he made a partnership with Griselda Blanco to be the safer supplier there in Florida, and that was the place she took over the whole by killing the same day the two Cubans militarized the drug traffic in South Beach. One in the morning, the other on the afternoon.
What? That was how he took control of Florida.
Of everything. And initially she was the inventor of mules. And she asked ladies to put instead of a brass and high heels the coke. But he always said, oh, there's too much fort.
Too much what?
The fort. To put just a little amount.
Right.
And that's why he started sending the coke in anything unimaginable. leaving from Medellin and Panama into ultralight airplanes, then amphibious, not to make noise when he land on the sea, then boats, ships, and at last Russian submarines. That's why he put in one day 10 tons of coke per day.
That's a lot.
From a dust? From a dust.
Yeah.
10 tons? And that is even why
That's insane.
his wage was huge, because the coke cost $5,000 per kilo, and if he put 10 tons and every ton has 1,000, then he earned per day 50, 100, and 1,000 million dollars per day. On 1977,
Loco.
the queen of the cocaine.
Right.
Actually, she was known as well as the spider, Black Widow,
Yeah.
because she got to get married with young guys as you and kill them.
They never lasted.
Messed up in any way. Then, even the first one was one to die by natural causes from liver cirrhosis.
Yep.
Second she got married with was a Colombian guy who dared to kidnap his little baby son from Florida to Medellin. And when she found him out here, got the baby back and killed her. That's is Carlos Trujillo, the guy who is buried there,
Okay.
to her, because when she was expelled on 2002 from America, after she was sent to the prison there, the last guy she got married with there was an African American with nature, because she was planning to kill the son of JFK on the United States.
Okay.
And he got scared, snitched her,
Right.
and she was sent to the prison for 15 years for good behavior. She was out of the prison and then expelled to Colombia on 2002. And 10 years later, she was killed by a hitman coming out from a butchery. This is Luis Fernando Pablo's brother and younger, who is actually dead as he is. The only two brothers who are dead. The rest are alive.
Okay.
He died in a car accident when he crashed in the bottom of a creek, like with a 5 meters height, and the police officers tried to confiscate the car, but he fought for that. And that was the reason that he crashed and died instantly, the 3 turbulence of the car. This was their nanny. Those up here are two sisters of his mom. The driver, the one who was a snitcher and betrayed him. The lemon, yeah. A brother of his father and his father. Those two green rocks right, my left, are for decorating the grave gotten here from family. They wanted to decorate with the grave with something meaningful on Pablo's construction. And they put these green rocks here because Pablo's cousin and co-partner managing cartel on the top. The one who think on strategies to put by air, sea or land inside of America every pound of coke.
Leon?
They were the both. A mastermind. He died 3 years before, tortured by the police to snitch out. That was his son, who died the same day Pablo died, but in the morning. He was caught by the police. They were torturing him, but they left him, ran away, and then killed him.
El mismo día.
El mismo día en la mañana. And that was his brother, who died a month later, 94, for the same. The police killed him.
With them, if the family thinks that Limon was responsible.
La misma pregunta.
It's because he died seconds before Pablo died. Back then, they didn't know he was the one to be the snitcher and betrayer. After family knew so many years after, it was needed an authorization for taking his body and exhumating him from the grave. And his family never gave that.
How many is group, right?
Yeah. Los Pepas was a subversive group. I was telling you that Los Pepas were the ones who kidnapped my boss Nicholas, paramilitary.
Right.
But not supporting communism, fighting communism. And they were born after guerrilla, who were the communist supporters, fight them from government. And that is actually the reason that Pablo gave them that house was so where my boss was kidnapped. As for recognition and all those things I just told you. And actually the thing too that they joined Cali cartel to buy Pablo and get him out of the business. They were the one who controlled Harbor.
Right.
And that was a place where Pablo started his mafia.
Harbor as in like ports, like a harbor on the ocean. Yeah, okay.
Here in Antioquia,
Okay.
have a border to Panama
See?
and Nicaragua. In that place, close to that place, are harbors. And that was the place where Pablo went to get the cigarettes and the liquor and the smoke.
And Los Pepes kidnapped one of his partners, like sister or daughter, right?
No,
That was Los Pepes?
his cousin,
Okay.
his nephew, sorry, his nephew, Nicolas. Guerrilla kidnapped a sister of one of co-partners.
Right.
of
The
Pablo.
brothers, right? The two brothers that he was
The
partnered with?
three brothers.
Two brothers.
Brothers Ochoa.
Yeah, there it is.
My friend, you can find it right up here. But the same. This is a new restoration.
Right.
And the original was this big and this width.
See.
Because Americans especially think São Paulo as you. Big guy, strong.
See?
Paulo was this big.
Huh.
The right pant, on the right pocket of the pant, was wearing a lucky bill. And this is a copy from the original one. And the doctor found it out inside and took it, keeping it, and promising to give it to family when it was safe for him to have a special meeting to family to talk about the forensic evidences that they found out on his body.
Right.
And he did it and gave it to my boss Nicholas to keep it for his heritage. But actually, he put this copy here as a gigantography so you can see details of the bill. First, the nomination. It's $1,000 bill.
See?
It is so uncommon that it was only for 30 and 40s decade of the US to pay a special debts. Who were special debts? The debts between bankings, part of the US Treasury. So if I owe you as a bank, we pay in between with these bills. When Pablo was in operations for cartel, those weren't exist and non-circulated.
Right.
But he keep it as for the lock inside of the bottle. Even you can find and type on the website of the US Federal Reserve website the series and the serial of the bill to find it out. The year.
1934.
Years ago, the one that you visit, to seal a bunker he built there as for protection. Because he suspected that he could get from enemies a chemical attack with bombs. So he closed the door and got sealed inside of the bunker, could live there for 7 months with a connection to Escobar. That's actually worse as it got used to when it was there in Monaco. And my boss buddy got it here, put it right up here, so you see how heavy he used this door, okay? Even you see hinges, how thick they are. I wanted to grab it to open it, so you feel how
That's a real door.
even plots here, worse as I say, they got used to. How Pablo conceived security after he started meeting an attack from police. First enemies for Pablo were the police and the state. Why? Because when Pablo went into drug traffic, he started, as I told you, investing here. And they started wondering where this whole money comes from skydivers and everything. And they, drugs. And Pablo. But then when Pablo, and they started fighting him. But then when he went into politicians and wanted to be part of the Congress,
Right.
and run for the Colombian Congress, he started being more attacked. And then on this car, he got that attack on 1982 when he was a candidate. Even you see evidence for the attack he got on that year, where you can see rest of ballistic from guns and shotguns from high calibers, 9mm, and that was a shotgun. But Pablo was more than, I will have to say, a Roger Moore. Add up so much more apps. And the other one was this turbo here, the engine.
See?
A turbo, add up 4 more speeds, running way faster. But actually, a system for boiling the oil of the motor instantly to send a toxic gas cloud to cover the whole car and avoid the vision of the police, but actually intoxicate him.
Really?
And every car got that. He bought all those cars here, but sent it to America, and asked American to add the same security used for the US president from 82 was Ronald Reagan. And that is why the car was armor or 4 plus, which is 4 centimeters of an armoring inside of doors and windshields and the roof.
Yep.
That is, the car is 3 tons. Remember, family, you saw one of them buried their cemetery. This is mom, the one who got family from the little town they lived, Rio Negro, which is international airport today, but back then, 50 years ago, was very little town,
Sure.
mostly dedicated for planting flowers, roses, and raising cattle. Dad was a farmer, but before they lived in a school where she was teaching as a teacher for preschool. And that is why she was getting attacked by a subversive group from Colombia that she decided to came out from there and move up at Envigado, where Pablo started raising and living and built his prison. She died, as you saw, 2006 for a diabetes crisis, and he was the one who died 2001 for a heart attack. Roberto Escobar, I told you, was the accountant of cartel, right?
See?
And the father of my boss, Nicolas Escobar. He was the one who was kidnapped in the house I showed it up.
Yep.
But this accountant was that guy who escaped with Pablo from the prison walking through the mountain. The one who got the envelope inside of his prison, which exploded near the right side of his face and left him blind and deaf. And that is why he was considered as the next in line to be managing cartel that the reason he was kidnapped and attacked several times. And actually, that was the same, that he was attacked so many times, and even he got that inside of the cell. How they managed cartel? He asked for a special condition for money. First, only cash, not to be traded. Second, only 50 and 100 bills. Of course, if you had to count,
Right.
6 millions,
Yeah.
$1. Gloria Inez, beloved sister for both, but never was inside of any operations of cartel. She's still alive. Algemiro, most physically similar. There are huge resemblance for Pablo, but in personality, so different. He is alive, living close to Rio Negro, and was never bothered by any kind of enemy of Pablo. Alba, another beloved sister, was never inside of operation, actually alive. She was the one who took care of mom until she died. Luz, the snitcher one, and the one wanted to know where the money from Pablo came from, and that caused that family breakup, and that they never got along. She's the one to be alive too and single.
Okay.
So if you want to get married to Escobar, this is a chance.
Take her name.
And this is younger brother, the one you saw buried next to Pablo, engraved, Luis Fernando, car accident, and my boss Nicolas, the one who was kidnapped.
See.
Remember the saint of the mom? She was praying for protection the day she was going to be killed by subversive. She was praying that saint. And while that was happening, she was asking for protection, that if the saint make miracle come true, she will make and turn family devoted to that saint. And that's what it happened. And the reason that Pablo went every time to ask for protection of every move he made,
Yeah, it's from her.
promising even to donate some percentage of the move he was going to get to the neighborhoods, poor neighborhoods here, as for building houses for homeless or making startups for unemployed.
Right.
They could fly, came out from the rivers. That's why he started on this first one, leaving from here to Panama on 3 round trips initially. Until the pilot spoke to him and said that it wasn't room enough inside from every bigger amount of money they gotta carry. And that Pablo, who was so superstitious, decided to take it out and put it on the gate of the ranch he was building in Naples, as to remain how he started that empire, because that ranch was 88,000 acres
Where was that?
at El Dorado. That is like on the middle way to get from Medellin to Bogota, all the way.
Okay.
Pablo built there as to be out of the focus of, the government. That when he needed to get there, famous politicians for Latin America involved in drug trafficking. And that is why he built inside an airport, the bigger from Latin America for the 70s and 77 especially. And another was a heliport. Another was a mansion for family. Another was a pool in a P as for his name Pablo. Another because her daughter-in-law died animals. He bought 200 different species of herbivorous animals
Yeah.
to let them live up. They live in Africa for free, hanging around everywhere. But because he said, I don't want them us to be alone, he bought at least a pair, because could be more, as hippos were initially 4.
And now they control the Amazon River.
Now they are close to 140 hippos.
Hippos are not native to South America, by the way.
Right.
Of course, East Africa, they come from. The same is happening with pythons. They're in Florida.
Yeah.
Inside of a prison, but the prison was so fancy and luxury that it was a luxury hotel from Dubai. And that is the reason that the Americans decided extradited him again, that he escaped.
Yeah. So this guy's fault. It was this guy's fault.
This was the photograph dedicated for the whole team. Pablo supported the boat.
Right.
Where you
He
can see,
bought a team, didn't he?
no, never.
No.
He supported the boat by balloons and uniforms, sneakers and everything, because they, as a regionalistic guy, wanted the boat every year to win the cup. The American Cup is the team in South America
Yep.
as the European Cup for the European League, where you can see this guy Andres Escobar, who sadly scored an auto goal on the US '94 World Championship against America, where America are good in one sport but football.
Yes.
When they expected Colombia to win the World Championship or to be on the final because they got the dream team. And by that reason, when Colombia was expelled from that cup and got back to Colombia, that guy was killed, coming out from a disco. Pablo admired James Bond films. So when he saw that film from 1976, The Spy Who Loved Me,
Yeah.
and James Bond riding on the father of the jet ski, he went to deal to producers on the US for selling to him the original jet ski from the film that they denied at first, but then they agreed not to sell the original, to make a replica. But he said, I don't need one, I need 10. And that was one of those 10 made for them.
I do apologise. I don't know how well you can hear with the rain, but we've been caught in like a thunderstorm.
The lake imitated in Cancun, that is it. And there is the prison I told you he built. The original one, that was when it was recently constructed.
Yeah.
This was that poor house I told you for private meetings to his cousin, and the rest was the prison. That fence was electrified for avoiding people getting inside.
Yeah.
The military spot control 100 meters before the gate got his military chosen. And all the houses on the way were the same for protecting him.
Right.
And even he communicated from up there to a building down there to family by telescope. So he didn't got interfered.
Right.
And the picture sent to George Bush. Like that. Where you can see how fancy dressed
Yeah.
he was dressed up for the picture. The second was a Russian hat for fooling because George Bush hated Russians and communists. But third and ironical thing was the open lock of the prison on the left edge. That he could, what he really wanted was to see that.
Right.
That he was there like, in a vacation, in a resort.
Right. Fake prison.
When he started the races, he started on this yellow Simca 1000. So that's why you can see on it the ad for Marlboro, because he was a smuggler. That was the startup for his brother for painting the cars. That he was a sponsor. But every time Papa won a race, he changed a car. So on this you see him being 70 on this Renault 4. Then 19 also on this one. But when he moved to try Formula One, he started on Porsches, and that's why you see him there being 21, and at last they are sitting first. Celebrating the cup to the second on board, the one you saw there on the break, Gustavo Gaviria, mastermind with that. That's because he admired the smuggler ever for history. when he knew
Before
that
Pablo.
he was auctioned the car, he was attacked in Florida. He bought it and put it inside of the ranch, showed it to the people who went there. When it was confiscated, the government confiscated too. And this was a Harley Davidson from Frank Sinatra. This gray car is the same as that blue one, but at this he didn't got the attack. It is totally intact. And I told you Pablo started smuggling, but then moved into bank robbery. It was easy escaping on motorcycles that he used Lambrettas for. Even he asked his brother to paint it on 2 different colors for confusing police every time he ran away.
Right.
A police that size a motorcycle.
Right.
But
They tell
these-
their friends it's red.
When he was going to make another move, then he asked his brother to paint it into a 2 new ones. Pablo, after he started sending any unimaginable way, moved from ultralights to amphibious, as I told you, for landing on the sea without noise. And that was the airplane crash to get the coca leaf at Ecuador. This is the bottom line from Colombia to Ecuador. And the top was a Russian submarine sent from the same. Because of the size, they could go like without a water through US
Right.
to put 7-ton, 1 punch. The gate, where you can see the same airplane you have behind you.
Yeah.
The private jet, every time he got to travel from here to Bogota, when he won the race to the Congress, that was the date that he was going to swear. The heliport and the airport. And this is yours, Barry Fields. These pilot, expert on the ways to put a knowledge of the routes by air to put the drugs inside, hired for Pablo Escobar as the only foreigner pilot. The
Where's
one
from?
was supposed by FBI and DEA to snitch on.
Yeah.
And he dared to get a picture from here making a move at Nicaragua.
See.
And when Pablo knew about this, sent to America a hitman to get in charge of it. Classified establishment to pay taxes on the airports. And as the same in American airports, were considered as garbage, they were sent to dump-fills. But there was waiting up Griselda Blanco to get the back of the coca bricks from the inside that is breaded. It was kept, closed for the money or the drugs or the weapons. Now that you see, my friend Kevin, this block 1, what is it from 1-4?
Drugs.
Of course.
Sorry, yeah.
Or money.
Or money, or guns, maybe even.
Yeah. Where are stashes? If you go, each side, you will see holes.
And you just stick this against the wall.
Bang.
I told you, my friend, that Pablo thought on 2 ways to make money flow. By jewel rocks and gold rocks and pieces of art, right? Where he kept them safe, in safest owned. He signed it up originally here so to scare the people stealing from him.
Know who you're fucking with.
Yeah, that was inside of the building Monaco. I told you my boss went to leave Switzerland, right? That was his home and his car that he bought to his credit card. That elephant, Pablo bought it as a gift to family, but trained to a circus. It was female. $200 was the price, he bought it. My boss is jumping on it. Even Pablo didn't like to use animals as like that. While they were in front of Egypt pyramids,
Yeah.
Pablo was in front of your Washington White House. That is a bodyguard. My boss Nicolas and Gustavo Lavidia. his cousin. Remember Monaco, the building? The one that I told you got 7th floor in a basement and a tunnel. And it was covered on marble, white marble rocks.
Yep.
That is a picture because that was demolished 2 years ago.
The hotel.
And that statue was on the surface
On the roof.
of the, no,
Yeah.
of the building. And on the first one and the second even, you can find the boat on every story from a drop traffic.
See.
If you go and read it, you could see that even they were the ones to make that big money, but they weren't the ones to enjoy it.
Right.
But if you go deeper, every story in every period of time and in any place ends up on one of those two ways. The ones who could make it surviving was there for whole life sentences. But the ones who couldn't make it, they are resting there in the cemetery. And that is our reflection. What is worth to be as the bigger, you know, millionaire to have the bigger net worth ever, but you are in a prison.
If you're running from the police your whole life.
You can even join the money because you are, if you are alive, but you are a prisoner.
And that's us finished at the tour. Really enjoyed it actually. It was good. I'd definitely say it was worth the money.
Yeah.
It was, so I mean that's like 3.5 hours now I think. So we did get some coffee,
Cafe.
Coke, yeah, which was £10. I don't know. We're just now walking to the supermarket though to try
Stock up for the week.
stock up for the week and then head back to the apartment. So I've got shit tons of footage. So I was actually worried my SD card was going to run out of storage, but thankfully it did not.